Hey Westlake, what's going on? I hope everyone is staying cool as much as possible. I know it's pretty hot, so I'm going to try and make this short so that I can get back into the room where I have the fan. But I just wanted to share with you a little bit of thoughts about a verse that has meant a lot to me in the past couple of years. And that verse is 1 John 3:1, where it says, "See what great love that the Father has lavished upon us, that we should be called children of God, for that is what we are." And I absolutely love that verse for so many different reasons and so many different words that just kind of pop up in that verse. The first one is see. And I think that that's really important because it says, see what great love, and it causes us to reflect on the love that God has poured out on us. And when it says see, sometimes there are times where we need to look back in our lives, or maybe we need a friend or a family member to help us see. Because sometimes we can be going through difficult things and it doesn't seem like we can see God's love. But it's a call to remember what we have seen and what we are going to see as well, that God has given us this great love. So the first word that really kind of stands out to me is the very first one, see. We can see God's love. And sometimes, again, we see that ourselves. Sometimes we need help from other people to see that as well. I love where it then continues, what great love. And great almost doesn't seem like a big enough word that describes God's love, but I just love that the word is used, great, just talking about how great God's love is. And again, I think that that's something that we can forget from time to time, that how great God's love really is and what kind of an impact that can have on us and on our lives as well. Perhaps my favorite word in there is where it says, see what great love that the Father has lavished upon us. Lavish just seems like such a rich word, such a big word. And honestly, when I think about to be lavished with love, I almost envision sometimes here in Switzerland, you know, if you go into the mountains in the spring, you'll see the waterfalls of all the snow that is melting throughout the year. And you just envision standing underneath that. And when I think about God's love being lavished upon us, that's almost what I feel like this overwhelming sense of a waterfall just pouring over us and God just lavishing his great love on us. It's not a sprinkle, it's not just a little stream, but it's just an absolute downpour of God's love that is just pouring into our lives. And lavish just makes me think of something that is rich in abundance and something that goes to the extreme and kind of knows no limits. And I think those are all great words and great descriptions of what God's love is, that it is just so lavishly poured out upon us. And then probably one of the final things that I love about that verse is that it says that we should be called the children of God, for that is what we are. And within that verse, I think that there's such a great idea of our identity. I think, working with teens, I've been working with teens for a number of years now. And identity is always something that comes up, something that we see that teenagers are wrestling with and trying to find their identity. But the truth is, the older I get and the more I interact with adults, I don't think teenagers are the only ones who are struggling with identity or trying to find identity. And we see that adults are trying to do that as well. And so when this verse says, for that is what we are, in reference to being children of God, it gives us an identity. It gives us very clearly that we are children of God. And I just love that title. I love that idea. I love that image that we should be called children of God, for that is what we are, because of God's great love that he has so lavishly poured out on us. So that has just been a great verse that has brought me a lot of encouragement. And I hope that it brings you some encouragement as well. See you guys soon.